In my last video, I promised you that I would be checking out how the iPhone 17 Pro stacks up against the Sony a6700 in terms of landscape and nature photography. This has been my go-to setup for the last couple of years and I absolutely love it. But to be honest with you, since switching over to the iPhone 17 Pro, I'm very much loving the image quality coming out of this, and I think that this could be a real contender. If you were to have to choose just one camera, I would have usually said this, but now I'm kind of thinking this. So this is going to set things straight today and we can work out exactly which is best out of these two. So without further ado, let's get into it. Wow, this is a beautiful afternoon, but the sun is setting so quickly. I got here an hour ago now, and yeah, the sun has dropped drastically in the sky, so I'm going to try and make this short and sweet for you guys. So a couple of guidelines for this video then. I'm going to shoot all of these photos in JPEG because, to be honest with you, that's how I intend to use the iPhone for the most part. I'm not really going to be using RAW. And I think that's probably safe to say that 99% of the people in the whole world are probably going to do the same thing. I mean, a phone is just there to be able to quickly capture those moments when your camera is all the way in your bag or all the way at home. That's the good thing about the iPhone. Well, straight away, I know a big plus for the iPhone is just that convenience factor, to be honest with you. So, you know, this is a nice lightweight tripod. It's not the most stable thing in the world, but it's going to do the trick, and it's certainly a lot less bulky than a big heavy tripod like this one that you have to use with a big heavy camera like this. Okay, so I've got both cameras set up here. It's not going to be the best photo in the world, this, but hopefully it should give you an idea of how both of these photos come out straight out of camera and how they handle dynamic range and sharpness and everything like that, and colors, because the colors were one of the things in my last video which I was super happy with on the iPhone. I think they're very natural but nicely saturated. So the first thing to mention about this particular photo is that the iPhone 17 Pro has a 13mm wide-angle lens, and this 11mm Sony, the full frame equivalent, is around 16mm. So it's not the same in terms of focal range, so just bear that in mind for this, but it still should be a fairly similar comparison for this. The other thing to note is the Sony is a 26 megapixel sensor, crop sensor, so APS-C, and the iPhone has 24 megapixel stills coming out of it. So that again is a really good comparison, because a lot of people do these videos where they're putting the iPhone up against a 5,000, 6,000 pound camera setup, and it's just not a fair comparison. So hopefully, because these are very similarly priced, it should be a much similar result coming out of both of these, and the sensor sizes are much closer to each other than a true full frame camera and this, which has a variety of different sensors depending on the actual focal range that we're going to be shooting with. So I'll pop that up on the screen, whatever the sensor size is. I can't remember off the top of my head for this first shot. So yeah, let's get this one in the bag, because the sky is looking really nice and moody at the moment. So yeah, this will be shot number one. Well, since I last spoke to camera, it's come over really quite stormy now. The wind has picked up. It's quite a bitter wind as well, so I'm starting to get a bit chilly now. And unfortunately, the light has all gone as well. So this tree right in front of me here, I think it's a goat willow, this tree. This actually was catching the light really nicely until about 5-10 minutes ago. And now, unfortunately, it's just a bit of a grey scene. But one thing that this shot has taught me is that the ability to use your aperture is just not there in the iPhone. So those sort of pro level features of changing your settings, your shutter speed, your aperture, you can't really do as easily with the iPhone, not in the standard camera app anyway. So that's a little bit of a win to the Sony a6700 there. Just if you really want to definitely focus on shooting in a particular style, for example, if you want to get it really nice and blurry in the background or in the foreground, you don't have as much ability to control that kind of thing with the iPhone, whereas with the a6700 or any mirrorless or DSLR camera, you will have that ability depending on the lens that you've got. That's the other thing actually. I've switched over to the Tamron 18-300, and this is going to be the lens that I'll be using for the remainder of this video with the a6700. And then on the iPhone, we'll be using the 1x camera. I'm just trying to hold this steady so that it doesn't fall over. So that 1x camera is about a 24mm full frame equivalent. So yeah, let's get this shot in the bag because it's actually really quite cold now. Right, so shot 3 actually uses that same sensor from the last shot, which is the main camera that most people will be using most of the time, but this time it just crops into it. So rather than being a 24mm equivalent, it's now a 48mm equivalent. So I have just quickly grabbed a shot, although the light is looking quite good over in that direction again. So let me get another one. There we go. And this time I'm really looking towards the mountains over in the distance there to try and capture just a little bit more of a vignette of the scene. And that's what this lens or camera allows you to do on the iPhone, is just punch in that little bit. Not a huge amount, but we'll be getting to that coming up very soon. So it's a nice simple shot that really just shows these lovely hills and the British countryside in all its glory, really. Okay, well, I've decided to come into the woods, not because I'm a wuss and it's really windy and cold out in the open there, but because this next focal length has been my favorite so far. So this autumn, as I mentioned in my previous video about the iPhone 17 Pro, I have been loving using the 100mm or the 4x telephoto lens, which is a new addition to the iPhone this year. And for me personally, it just comes in so handy to really get lovely vignettes of nature, maybe zoom into some wildlife like an insect or a bird or something like that. Or what it's come in really useful for is actually fungi photography for me personally. And I have got a little fungi down here, which we'll get onto in a minute. But for this first shot, I've just found a lovely vignette of a couple of trees on the side of a path with some autumn colors in the photo. And I think it makes for a nice pleasing image. We haven't got any light, unfortunately, so it's not going to win any prizes, nor will any from today, to be perfectly honest with you. But it has been a really good test to see exactly which is better in terms of the functionality of both of them and the image quality. I think you've got to weigh up quite a few different factors with them. You know, the lightweight convenience of a phone versus the versatility and pro features of a mirrorless camera like this. There's really pros and cons to both, which I'm finding out through this test. But it's going to be really interesting going back and looking at the images after this to see exactly which I prefer out of them. I think the iPhone has some really cool features that make it a really worthwhile camera to use for a lot of scenarios. But obviously I'm used to using a camera with a bigger sensor and with a more expensive lens and everything like that. So I'm not sure, but this image is certainly going to be a really good test because, as I say, I have been loving this 100mm focal length on the iPhone so far this autumn. And even this image as well, like I say, is very pleasing and really shows exactly how useful it is for a lot of photographs. Okay, so I found a little mushroom down here, which is going to be a good subject for this close-up photography. So this has to be the first shot of the day where I actually think the iPhone is probably going to beat this, because to get this to be nice and sharp and in focus, I'm having to stop this camera down to f/16, which means not a lot of light is actually being drawn in. And then hence I have to use a tripod, whereas I'm actually getting a pretty comparable shot just with the iPhone hand holding it. I can't get as low to the ground with this mini tripod as I can with this just holding it in my hand. So that has to be a win, to be able to get a nice quick shot like that. And this is actually not even going into the full macro mode. This is actually just using that same 4x telephoto, and it's just a lovely focal range to be able to shoot something like this, and you still get that nice blurry background. You can isolate your subject, in this case obviously the fungi, and then actually get the background leaves to be nice and out of focus. And I actually just think that's a complete win to not have to do the same thing with this, because you just never would be able to capture it as easily as you can with the iPhone, and the quality is not far off either. Okay, now the sun has just set below the horizon, which means unfortunately it's just gonna get even colder than it already is. So even with the wind right now, yeah, I really could do with some gloves on, and I'm not sure if I've got any in my bag. So I have now captured my last image with the iPhone, which is the 200mm focal length. And essentially what that one is it's just a punched in version of the 100mm lens or camera. So essentially, it just gives you that maximum zoom, and even though it is just a cropped version of the previous image sensor, it actually is really good quality. And I'm looking at these two on the backs of the screens here, and I actually think that, again, they're pretty comparable between the two here. So the dynamic range of the iPhone is looking really good. It looks like it's capturing a nice level of detail in the sky, and then obviously a nice level of detail in the land and the shadows and everything. So then with the A6700, to me it looks like the sky doesn't have anywhere near as much detail, which, depending on the way you shoot, could be a good thing and a bad thing, but it's just an interesting observation. But even more interesting is going to be actually having a look at these on the computer, because it's so hard to tell on the backs of the screens exactly how they look. And sometimes, even though there is more detail in the iPhone shots, you know, sometimes you don't want all that detail, and you don't want your images to be completely processed. And hence why I actually switched to the iPhone, because I've always felt like the images just look a little bit more natural coming out of a phone, and it looks just a lot more pleasing to me personally. So yeah, that's been a really interesting test. It's been a cold one actually in the end, and yeah, fairly windy, but it has been fun. And yeah, definitely a really good comparison between these two, and I'm just interested to see exactly how it all turns out. So let's head back home to the warmth of my studio setup, and we'll have a look at how these have turned out. Okay, well, the first thing that was glaringly obvious to me in that test was that the iPhone's photos were just quite bright compared to the Sony A6700. So obviously with the computational photography that's happening within a phone, the images are just coming out quite a bit brighter. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. It means that you don't need to post-process your images as much. So if you like the look of the photos, then that's pretty good, because the A6700's photos, they do look a little bit dull and dim. So yeah, that's quite a noticeable thing with the iPhone, I would say. In terms of resolution, all of the images actually looked great on the screen. So even with the cropped version, so the 12 megapixels instead of the 24 megapixels, there was still a lot of resolution there in the iPhone. So yeah, it's come out quite well in that respect as well. But in terms of actually using your phone to replace your camera, for the most part, as an actual photographer, I just don't think we're quite there yet. We're close. We're closer than we've ever been with the iPhone and with all smartphones that are coming out now. You know, the cameras are getting better and better. But as an actual photographer who enjoys using a camera, I still love the fact that you can change so much and you can dial in your settings so much better with a camera. And, you know, if it's not looking quite right, if the focus isn't quite working for you, you've got options, a lot of options with a camera, any mirrorless camera, not just the A6700. Whereas with the phone, you know, if the focus isn't quite there or something like that, there's just not that much that's available to you to be able to change things and make it work the way that you want it to work. So although the image quality is getting better and better, I think there still needs to be some work put into actually making this a usable alternative to a camera. There's obviously a lot of work going on behind the scenes, so you can quickly grab a shot and it looks great straight out of the camera, whereas with this, there is a little bit of post-processing. But again, as a photographer, I enjoy the post-processing element. I enjoy making it look like how I want it to look. And yes, I'm aware that this can shoot RAW, but for the most part with a phone, all I want to do is quickly whip it out of my pocket, press the camera button, take my shot, and there we go. I don't want to have to be delving into the different apps that are available and everything like that. I just want to use the dedicated camera app, get my shot and go. So where do we stand then? Will I be getting rid of the A6700 and only using my phone? Not quite. I think we are very close. I think that the iPhone's images look fantastic and I'm really happy with them. And where I think this has definitely succeeded is to replace the point and shoot camera. So to be able to just quickly get it out of your pocket or your bag, take your shot and be very happy with the results that you get. I think we're definitely there with the phone. But in terms of actually wanting to create something that has a bit of, you know, you might want to put it on the wall or something like that, I still don't think you can reliably do that with your smartphone, whereas with the camera, you definitely can. So I will still be continuing to use the camera and I'll still be continuing to use the phone day to day. And definitely there have been situations recently, like say if I'm just going into town for the day and, you know, maybe once upon a time I would have taken my camera because I think there might be some opportunities for photography, maybe going to a nice park or garden or something like that. I would have taken this back in the day, but now I am very happy with the straight out of camera photos that I can get with my phone. That's where I feel like this has definitely succeeded and will definitely be replacing the A6700 to a certain degree. So definitely stay tuned to the channel if you want to find out how I'm getting on with the iPhone and the A6700. I've got some exciting new videos coming very soon related to both of these. So definitely subscribe if you haven't already and hit the bell if you want to stay up to date on everything that's going on with the channel. Like it as well, very much appreciated. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you. Bye.